Okay, so what we're going to do today is do a test of the VR using the 3080 10 gigabytes VRAM, my 3080, before we switch out the 7900 to the 7900 AMD one. So I'm expecting that the sim will probably, I'm not sure because the last time I jumped into 2024 and tried any VR, do the Robinson, and we'll go back to New York. The last time I tried it, I couldn't even get off the ground at Moorabbin in VR in 2024. And that was on the lowest setting for the Crystal Light and a lowest setting, I think, on the VR as well. We'll go back into where we were. Onto the helipad here, New York. Set that as departure. We have to switch up the time to morning time. Okay, so we will leave the time at 8 o'clock and we will leave the weather as is. We need to set the settings to VR graphics. We'll leave the top ones as are. World scale we'll leave at 105. Foveated rendering I think I'll leave on. I will change this from custom to low end. We'll do the first test with low end, which is all of these settings here. And pause it if you want to take a look. I'll put a time frame for each test in the description below if you want to jump to any of the settings rather than watching all of it. So do low end, save, and what we will also do is we'll set the device settings of the Pimax Light. We will set it to game and low. I tried medium, but we might be able to try it in another test, but for now we'll set it on low because I think anything higher isn't going to really work with the 3080, I found anyways. Maybe in 2020 we might be able to get it higher, but 2024, we'll try it on low first of all. Maybe we might come in and try it on medium and see. So for this test it's low. Nothing else has changed on it. Actually, everything else is off. We don't have anything else picked on it. Using OpenRX, Pimax OpenRX. Haven't changed anything else. So back in the sim, we'll resume it here. As I say, we have the settings on low in the sim as well. And what we need to do now is we need to do the test on the low settings of the Pimax, the low settings of 2024 VR. We'll go out around the Statue of Liberty, up Manhattan, and back across the river and back down again. Do the same test, same one as we done on the screen, but in VR. Okay, so we switched into VR now, and we can see from the counter we're getting 48, 49 FPS sitting here. It's just on top of my head. You really, yeah, it'll work, but you're not getting, I don't know whether you can see it on the screen, you're not getting the clarity of the headset. Of course you're not. You're using on the lowest setting of the Pimax, and you're using it on the lowest setting of 2024, but we'll just fly around here I can get myself sorted out for a second. It's the problem of trying to record VR is not the easiest thing to record, and all the simmers will tell you. At least the menu is working, so we'll do a record here. Start the record. Okay, we'll take off and we'll do a flight out towards the Statue of Liberty. Now, I must say the one good thing that always seems to be okay is the water, no matter what level of detail you're on. We'll head out towards the Statue of Liberty. In the headset, on the screen, I'm not sure, but in the headset, it's not the clearest on. The peripherals is really blurry. You sort of got a small sweet spot in the middle. Even that's not the clearest. If you look around, the buildings, they're not too bad. The sim is butter smooth. There's no problem with that. I just think on the low setting, even though the sim is butter smooth, you're losing the clarity a bit on things. And we head up to the Statue of Liberty here. Now again, anybody that's asking about VR is a different sort of flight sim experience. You're getting all the depth of field and the speed, height, distance, you're getting all that through the headset. And that's not the clearest, but you can judge things a lot better in VR. You can judge height and distance. Let's come around here onto Ellis Island. You can see when the low, there you go, it pops in the objects. Because we've got such a low terrain level and low object level, things pop in sort of in front of you. So it does cut the immersion a bit. Like I said, the water always seems to look good. It seems to be, even on the lowest setting, the water always looks good. Coming across the ship, it's a bit not looking the best, but okay. Again, this test was just a test what the 3080 can do in Flight Sim 2024 SU2 at the minute, and it can fly on the lowest setting of the Crystal Light. We may try the medium setting and see, but this is the lowest. But as you can see, the streets and everything don't look all that hectic. As we come up here, the buildings just look blah, yeah, but we come across the bridge here. And this is what VR can do. VR can mean you can fly a couple of feet off the ground. No problem at all. You don't have to be an expert pilot or expert sim pilot or anything. It's a lot easier to judge everything. I'll head up here towards the Empire State Building. But yeah, if you want, you got a 3080. I'll head to the left here maybe. Got a 3080 or a 30 series. I would say 3080 be minimum. It will run a Crystal Light on the lowest setting. Not the most ideal thing, not the best. Let's go up here. Not the best clarity, but it'll run it. And unlike 2024, a couple of months ago, it wouldn't even run. I couldn't even get it to run right, even on the lowest setting. It was just stuttering, it was ridiculous. But due to them, they have improved things with SU2, and they've really fixed the VR settings. So at least you can fly on the lower settings on the lower cards. But really and truly, Crystal Light was designed more for minimum, I'd say 40 series. Definitely 50 series will run it fine, but minimum 40 series, and that's why I got the 7900 just to see if we can up the settings and get a better clarity in it. But it gives you the experience of VR. As I say, the screen will probably show you. It is a bit clearer on the VR headset than on the screen, I would think. And this is what VR is all about, treetop flying. Not too far down the treetops, but treetop flying here in Central Park. And try and keep it to what I done on the test on the monitors. I think that's the building over there. You see the buildings change, that's the thing. The low terrain and object detail of. I'll come across here and up over this building. I think we done before. Yep. We climb. Ooh, that's the fun thing of VR. That's the absolute. Try that on the screen and you're going to be crashed into something. But VR, you can judge it. Where's the trees at the end of this? Okay, and we're out onto the Hudson again. I think it's just the Hudson, isn't it? Isn't the Hudson both sides of Manhattan there, isn't it? I'm not American, so maybe I'm getting it completely wrong, but here's a cool looking house. But it's flyable, absolutely, on the low level. Not getting the detail, but it is flyable. The only thing with the low detail is the terrain, the objects loading in front of you, because you have such a short 50. They tend to load in when you can see, rather than loading in before you get to see them. What we'll do is we'll use this recording to do a couple of more tests. And we can keep it in just to test it, maybe keep it in towards the buildings. Run it down along here. But like I said, the clarity, if I look down at the clocks and the gauges, you can see I can't really, in the headset, I can't really even they're not clear to me, and I'm sure they're even worse on the screen. I'm sure. Trying to read the numbers on that gauge there. No, I need to watch where I'm flying. Trying to read the numbers on the cyclic. No, I can't, even if I come in really close power on. As I say, I might switch up the headset to medium and see, and leave it on low settings the same, and see, does that increase the clarity without losing too much FPS, without losing the smoothness of the sim. There, you see, that's buildings loading in on front of us. That's what happens when you got it set to low end settings. I'll come around here. Try to go down low as we can over the bridge. I'll come around too. I'll keep saying it, I keep forgetting the bridge names. I'm just gonna stop trying to remember which one is which. I'll come in here underneath. Let's do a type by that one. Oh, that's too tight. Okay, that's too tight. Oh man, that would be the end of the helicopter. I'm getting a bit too cocky flying around. Problem is now I won't be able to use this recording because I've done a stupid thing like that. Yeah. And the problem is that's going to be on every recording if I use this recording. So let's bring it in here. Oh, that's... I told ya, I'm no professional pilot. Okay, that's too... So, that's on the lower level of it. Let's try switching it up to medium. As always, the water looks fine. Not sure what the FPS is. Now let's admit that from the low setting test to this one, I've taken it's the next day. And even now with the sweet spot of the crystal light, I can see the left and right. If I move my eyes, yeah, it's not looking as clear on the left and right. Again, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that the 3080 is actually doing it on medium, to be honest with you. Because when I tried this before, Sim Update 2 for 2024, I wasn't even able to get off the ground in VR with the 3080. I couldn't, even on low settings, I couldn't even get off the ground. The thing was just unflyable. But this is, what did I say, flyable? But, and I don't know until I look back at the screen, it's not really clear. And yes, I can imagine you all shouting, dude, you're not going to get a really good experience in a 3080 and a Crystal Light. And you're right. Even looking up at the Statue of Liberty as we pass by. Don't get me wrong, VR is the way to be, I feel. You get to look out the side window. No matter how good Tobii Eye is on a flat screen, you're not getting this experience in a flat screen. Even worse, even at its worst. Okay, Silas isn't looking bad. Things may change when I hopefully, I put the 7900 in and do the same flight with all the settings. Right now it's nice. It's not ideal. It's not perfect, but it's nice. And pass over that ship there. We'll head up into Manhattan here. Keep it low. I think you can see the water looks a bit shimmery. I'm sure it's just that the 3080 isn't able to do it. So while we head up here through the canyon of skyscrapers. Oh, we've got traffic today. Okay, it's not looking 100% down there, but wait. It's not looking the nicest. I'd say medium settings on low end Crystal Light is the maximum that's going to work, and it's not looking, as I say, you can fly it, but it's not looking the nicest. So to be truthfully honest, anybody that's thinking of picking up a Crystal Light, yes, it's a brilliant headset, VR headset, but I would say minimum 40 series would be the minimum to enjoy it. 30 series you'll get away with it, but it is, as I said, 3080 on the lowest setting in Crystal Light and the lowest settings in the same flies. And you go up to medium now, and we do the same sort of flight up here. You're pushing the card, and I reckon the FPS on the screen is probably saying that. Pushing the card to its max. Not sure what the VRAM would be. You're getting a flyable experience, but not, I wouldn't say, the nicest experience in it. See, can we follow where we went the last time? I think we went up here towards the... There's just something about flying in New York City in VR. You can just judge things a lot better. I'll try and head up here. and keep low. The reason I'm keeping low is I want to push it to the most we can. But it's still nice on medium settings. Don't get me wrong, we're not losing the smoothness of the sim. Let's come out here onto Central Park. Don't know what the FPS counter is doing on the screen at the minute. I'll see it when I look back, but head over in Central Park here. And I think you can see it's slowing down and it's not stuttering, it's just looks like slow motion really. It's beginning to hit the max, I'd say, of the hardware of the 3080. I'd say we're on the limit, and I'm sure when we land back there's no way we're going to get around in ultra settings. Go over the lake here and we will again head up to the right. This test does show that it does work. Not at its optimum performance, but it does work. I'll try and keep on track of where we were. Up over the top of this building here. Up over the water tank. And down. As I say, it's just so much fun in VR in a helicopter. The Robinson, you just throw it around. And we're back down onto the river. And I must say it is flying smooth. Clarity isn't what I would like, but as I said, I never expected the 3080 even to run in 2024, to be honest with you. I was always banked on just running in 2020, and it'll be interesting. I'll try the same sort of route in 2020 and see if we get clarity anymore better. But I'm impressed with it running on medium settings in 2024. We got some of the cars doing weird things going into buildings. And still, even at these medium settings, it's still more immersive experience than a 4K screen or even triple K screens with Tobii Eye, because it's just natural to move your head and see. I hope this is recording okay, because I recorded it last night and then I realised I ran out of space on the hard drive. That's one thing for VR. It takes up a crap load of space to record it. And even on the screen, you're not going to see the clarity I'm seeing. I'm getting a lot more ships today as well. Yes, I did say ships. S-H-I-P, not the other. Let's see if we can buzz this ship here. Of course, if we do a record and try it again, that ship probably won't be there. But fishery ship. Fishery ship. What am I talking about? Fishery ship. It's trawler. We come down here, and because we're on medium and we're on 100 under, what am I trying to think? It's gone out of my mind. Train level of detail 100, object level of detail 100, and that ship is grounded. We're not getting any load in things in front of us. I think we need to go to 50 train level of detail and object level of detail. Things tend to load in just before you get to them. Well, keep here to... I keep forgetting I say it. Brooklyn Bridge, I think it is. And we'll just go in to the left hand side here and go into it. Show you how much detail that has. That looks pretty nice. And the cars, of course, are running underneath, as always. And we'll come around here. I apologise if my head is all over the place. It's hard to keep it in one position. And try and come in low and slow. And try to bring it in here. Again, it makes it a lot easier to land a helicopter in VR. I'm not going to say it's to be perfect, but a lot easier than trying to land it on a screen. Where's our H? There it is. I forgot where the H was. Whoop. Try and bring it down. Oh, so that was medium level. And yeah, let me get the recording here, make sure. Let's stop that. And can we save? We can. What I will do is jump out and change it to Ultra. As I say, I'm not expecting it even to work in Ultra, but we'll jump out of VR and we'll go to the Ultra settings. Even moving my head slow, look at that. The resource thing is popping up. The FPS is probably popping off as well. I don't think we're even going to get off the ground here in Ultra. This is really unflyable in Ultra, I would think. Even if I try and use the recording here, are we even going to get off? I wouldn't think so. Everything is just... let's see the recording here. I wouldn't think you see, nah. Nah, Ultra's nah, it's broken it. I'm not even going to bother trying to mess with it. Stop that. So that's the limit of the 3080 medium. I would actually say low end settings, with the low end settings on the Crystal Light in 2024. Medium, yeah, you can fly it, but you're not going to get the clarity. You'll get the smoothness, not like this in Ultra. Ultra has broken the 3080 in LightSim 2024 VR. Low end Crystal Light settings, Ultra settings in the same, it's not going to work. Medium is about the maximum that you're going to be able to fly on. So we will, as always, I'll put all the timestamps in the description below. We'll jump out of this and we may do a couple of tests and keep an eye out for a 2020 test one maybe. But for now, the baseline test for VR 2024 is the 3080 can't go past medium. It's not going to work.